All right, well, welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you another method of factoring called what I like to call the SMILE method. And you'll see why in a minute, why I like to call it that method. Let's look at this first example. So here we have 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. And so the first thing we're going to do is we know the format. As we've been factoring, we know that our final answer is going to look something like this. And what we're going to do using this method is we're going to start with this first term. And the only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. So I'm going to put 3x and 1x, or just x, in either one of these two spots. It doesn't matter. And once you pick a spot, you don't have to move it. You don't have to worry about changing those two. Those can always just stay the same. And we'll talk about what to do if there's more than one factor here in a minute with this next example. But for this first one, the only factors of 3, like I said, are 3 and 1. Now we're going to look at the factors of this last term, the 8. So obviously we could have 1 or 8, 2 or 4, and we could switch the order around. That's the only thing that makes this a little trickier, but the nice thing about this method is it does get to your answer a lot quicker than some of the other methods. And so I'm just going to start with 1 and 8. And this is why it's called the smiley face method, or the SMILE method, is because once we do these little hoops here, these little lines, it looks like a smiley face. So you draw your smiley face. Now what does this mean? This means that what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these middle two terms. 1 times x is x. And then the last two terms that make the smile, 3x times 8, that's 24x. And I look to see the 24x and the x. Is there any way that I can add or subtract those two values to get negative 10? And there isn't. So now I'm going to change these. Maybe I'll try 8 and 1. If I change those around, and this is why using this method, I highly recommend using either pencil or using a whiteboard marker and a whiteboard like on your desk, or if you have a smaller one at home. Using those will make this way a lot easier. Otherwise, pencil will also work. Never use pen in this method. It just gets a little bit more trickier. But 8 times x, that would be 8x. 3x times 1 would be 3x. And again, I look at the 8x and the 3x. There's no way I can combine those by either using addition or subtraction to get 10x or negative 10x. So that is not our answer. We're not going to use 1 and 8. Let's try 2 and 4. So when I multiply 3x times 4, I get 12x. And when I multiply 2 times x, I get 2x. Now, can I get negative 10x out of these two? And yes, we can. The way that we would do that is if this was a negative 12x. So negative 12x plus 2x would be negative 10x. So that tells me this 4 has to be negative and the 2 has to be positive. And that's my answer. That's literally how easy it is. Well, let's see what happens when we have a problem like this one, where our first term, the 4, there's two possibilities. We could have 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. Now let's just try 2 and 2. And for the 9, we have the factors 1 and 9, 3 and 3. So if I put 1 and 9 here, let's draw our smiley face. We've got our nose and our smile there. So 1 times 2x is 2x. 2x times 9 is 18x. There's no way I can get negative 9x from 2 and 18. So I know it's not 1 and 9, but always switch the order. And for this, you'd get, it really doesn't matter, because this one you'd end up getting the same thing. We'd end up with, because our first terms 2x are the same. So regardless of which order we put the 1 and 9, you're going to end up with 18 and 2x. Again, same situation. We can't get negative 9x. So I'm done with 1 and 9. Let's try 3 and 3. And 3 and 3 ends up with 6x. And again, it doesn't matter which order I put those in. It's still going to not, there's no way for us to get 9x. Okay, so we've exhausted those, but that was when we were using 2 and 2. So now let's change that to 4x and 1x. I'll just leave it as x. So let's do 3 and 3 again, see if that works. So 4x times 3x, that's 12x. 3 times x is 3x. Can I get negative 9 from 12x and 3x? Yes, if this were negative 12. So that means this 3 would have to be negative, and this 3 would have to be positive. And so that would be the factored form of that one. So again, it's still, I think, a lot faster than some of the other methods, and it still accomplishes the same thing. So that we call the smiley method.